What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I just finished playing a very exciting game that demonstrates how to play against the Scandinavian defense modern variation, where black develops the knight first before capturing on d5. If you watched my yesterday's video, I said the modern variation of the Scandinavian has potential to transpose to the Portuguese gambit after pawn to d4 and bishop g4. This is what Levi Rosman likes playing, especially in blitz. And I said most Scandinavian players who play the Portuguese seem to know their theory very well. You can't just beat them, especially if you don't know what you're doing as white. Which is why I recommended one beautiful antidote to the Portuguese, beginning with the move knight c3. Which is my favorite. By the way, this is what I played in today's game. And so before I take you to my recorded stream showing the game that I just finished playing, let me show you what happened in this particular position. My opponent took on d5. So after knight takes d5, the secret is not to take back. You simply develop your bishop on c4, giving black one more chance to take on c3, which my opponent did, by the way. And then rather than taking, I played queen f3. What if they play something like knight f4? Come on, guys, should I teach you these basics? Here there's a mate in 2, beginning with the move bishop takes f7 check, and after king d7, you simply mate your opponent like this. So that's the answer. So I played queen f3, targeting the f7 pawn, and then my opponent played pawn to e6. I think this is what happened. If you remember very well, I gave you a very effective and simple repertoire to follow whenever you reach this position. If black plays knight c6, it's time to slow down their king side development by playing queen g3. They can't just develop their dark squared bishop because of queen takes g7. And if they play bishop d6 instead of knight c6, yes, you can't play queen g3 due to bishop takes, but at least you can develop your king's knight to h3 rather than playing boring chess, you know, knight e2. So knight h3 is a bit faster. The idea is to put your king's knight on g5 after black castles short, and in some lines you even sacrifice that knight. We saw how that works. Instead of bishop d6 or knight c6, if black plays bishop e7, yes, you can play knight h3 if you want, but the move I recommended is to sack your pawn, and there is some serious trouble. In fact, after bishop e7 and bishop takes h4, the move is queen e4 to win back the h7 pawn with your rook. Again, if you want to know what to do against the most played line, which even Levi Rosman likes, in this position, pawn to c6 followed by pawn to e6, you can watch my yesterday's video. But anyways, as you will see in the game, after I played pawn to e4, my opponent started with the Alekhines defense with knight f6. I almost wanted to end the recording because I did not intend to cover the Alekhines defense. But anyways, out of frustration, I just continued with bishop c4. This is just a common trap known in the Krejcik variation. If knight takes e4, the idea is just to sacrifice the bishop on f7, and after king takes, you go queen h5 check, and after pawn to g6, you go queen d5 check. After pawn to e6, you recapture your piece. Of course, they'll play something like pawn to d5, but against this, you can just go queen f4 check. If black defends with the queen like this, you capture the pawn on c7 and you are better. Anyway, so this is how my opponent started with knight f6. And then I played bishop c4. Luckily, they didn't take on e4. I think here my opponent played pawn to d5, which kinda transposed the game back to the Portuguese or to the Scandinavian. If you remove the knight and the bishop from these squares, we are going to have e4 d5, which is the Scandinavian defense. So what I did was to take on d5, and then right at this moment I knew the game was going to transpose to the Scandinavian modern variation after knight takes d5, which happened in the game, after which I played knight c3. And this is one beauty of knowing so many openings, you guys, because positions tend to become relatable. So you better sharpen your opening skills, learn as many openings as you can. And this is one channel where you can learn many openings like this, because chess history repeats itself most of the times. So after my opponent took on c3, I played queen f3 just like we saw before. And I'm sure my opponent didn't realize it by this time that we were playing the Scandinavian defense, but I knew because 1, I'm a coach, 2, my name is Kasper, not to be confused with Kasparov though, that's just my real name from my 2 government names. So from here, I'm sure you can take it up. this is how the game started. And now it's time to watch the live stream that I recorded earlier. But before we proceed, I have some bad news for you guys. This will probably be your last time to hear my voice ever again, if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, because that's just how the YouTube algorithm works. So be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Let's go. Right, time for No Mercy. So hoping to see the Scandinavian. Oh, can I end this or I just continue? I never intended to record the Alliance defense. For those who don't know, this is the Alliance, and against this, let me just play the Gambit with Bishop c4. Pardon my pronunciation. So I want to sacrifice my e4 pawn by playing Bishop c4 first, targeting the weak f7 pawn. So let me just do that. I mean, what else do I know? So Bishop c4, targeting the weak f7 pawn. If knight takes, I'll take on f7 with my bishop. That will be a sacrifice. And after king takes, I'll simply play queen h5 check. And say after something like pawn to g6, I have queen d5 check in the future, and then recapture on e4 to equalize material. So black just played pawn to d5 against this. Oh, now we are transposing back to the Scandinavian. It's like we started with e4 and pawn to d5. Wow. Okay, so this is great, you guys. I feel great now, you know, going back to the Scandinavian. So let me just take, so pawn takes, and I expect black to take with his knight, not with his queen, obviously, after which I'm going to play knight c3. So this is like the Scandinavian defense modern variation, which I covered in my yesterday's video. There we see knight takes d5. So the idea is not to take back, but to develop my queen's knight. So I expect black to take, and then I'll develop my queen to f3. So let's see what my opponent is going to do. So now the game has become so easy for me, you guys. So this is what I wanted. And this is why some people say chess history repeats itself. So this is called the art of transposition. You need to know at least many openings, or say at least 10 openings for you to be great at chess. E.g., you saw that the game started with the Alliance and then transposed to the Scandinavian modern variation. So imagine if you don't know how to play the Scandinavian defense, or how to play against the Scandinavian defense modern variation. How would you continue? This is how and why most of you guys find yourselves in losing positions or in lost positions, because of being unfamiliar with certain positions. But luckily for me, I seem to know a bit of theory here and there, because I study chess openings almost every day, and most importantly, I solve a lot of chess puzzles on a daily basis. Anyway, there we see pawn to e6. Now time for me to recapture on c3 with my d pawn. If knight c6, I need to go queen g3. That's what I said in my tutorial video yesterday, and that's what my opponent played, you guys. So you have all the reasons to watch my videos. So I said if knight c6, play queen g3. Queen g3 actually stops black from developing his dark squared bishop, because you're going to take the g7 pawn. So that's what we're doing with queen g3. If bishop d6, of course we won't be able to play queen g3 due to bishop takes. So after bishop d6, the move that I recommended is to play knight h3, is it? Yeah, knight h3 followed by knight g5. If castle short, you play knight g5. And then if h6, you play pawn to h4, sacrificing your knight. Yes, this is what I said in my tutorial video. And if bishop e7 by black, you simply go pawn to h4 first, and then go queen e4 or queen h5, depending on the position, by the way. Knight h3 is also possible, followed by knight g5. I mean, it all depends with what your opponent does. So my opponent played knight c6, and now queen g3 makes a lot of sense, stopping, you know, black from developing his dark squared bishop, because I'm gonna take on g7 if they are not careful. By the way, I'm playing against a 1957 rated opponent whose name is Sausage Dog. Pawn to g6. Thank you, Sausage Dog. Anyway, pawn to g6. What did I say against pawn to g6? I'm thinking of the move pawn to h4. But knight h3 is also a move. Even bishop d2 and castle long. But what can I do? Maybe knight h3 and then put my knight on g5. Yeah, because if I just play pawn to h4, black will have time to play bishop d6, right? Yeah, h4 attracts bishop d6. So knight h3 is faster. So you need to be fast in development. There we see bishop g7 anyways. The idea is to go knight g5, by the way. I'm taking more time because I'm doing both commentary and playing. And I'm trying my level best not to confuse you guys, you know, playing very fast. So bishop f4 targets the c7 pawn. If pawn to e5, I have bishop e3, then bishop c5. Maybe preventing black from castling short. There we see pawn to e5. Can I go bishop g5, attacking the queen? Black will play something like pawn to f6. Mission accomplished. That will be a weakness. Or let me just play bishop e3. If castle short, I have bishop c5. That's what I intend to do. So this is great, you guys. By the way, this is a 5 minutes blitz match plus 3 seconds increment. So I'm not worried about time. I'm more of a bullet guy. There we see bishop takes h3. Can I take with my pawn or my queen? I think let me take back with my queen. There's no need to mess up my kingside pawn structure. Besides, I have bishop h6 if black castles short, or rook d1. Rook d1 attacking black's queen. So there we see castle short. What move can I play here? Bishop h6. I think rook d1 first. Rook d1 attacking the queen. Besides, I still have bishop c5 in some lines, I guess. And if queen e7, there's rook d7. And that's exactly what happened, you guys. Am I a magician? So let me go rook d7, just attacking the queen and probably capture all the pawns on the queen side. So rook d7. I saw this coming, by the way. It wasn't a very difficult move to see. Remember, I'm playing against a 1957 rated opponent, so I kind of know the moves that most 1900s play and what 2100s play as well. Queen f6. I think there's no threat here. I can just go ahead and start capturing the pawns on the queen side. I mean, all of them, all the pawns, starting with the c7 pawn. I mean, what else? Yeah, there's no threat. Let me just take the pawn. Rook takes c7. Let's see what my opponent is up to. I think this is already losing for black. First, I'm going to castle short, given a chance. And then put all my pieces on their most potential squares. I have rook takes b7 next. I don't know what else black can do here. This is definitely a win for me. And this is what my former coach told me. You just have to play good chess, normal chess in the opening stage. Sooner or later, your opponent will blunder. Anyway, knight a5 attacking my bishop. So now bishop d5 targeting the b7 pawn. So the more you keep on attacking your opponent, the more you give them chances to blunder. What the? Just what I'm from talking about, you guys. My opponent just hanged his rook. So that was just a free piece. What happened? And my opponent just resigned. Is that a sign of respect or frustration? So the word of the day is just keep on attacking, play active chess. By doing so, you are increasing your opponent's chances to blunder. I mean, it's just the fact many chess players, or most chess players, are not good defenders, but most chess players are good attackers. Anyway, I wanted to do a quick analysis, but I realized that I already covered many lines in my tutorial video and I might end up repeating content. So if you want to know more theory or more lines that I didn't cover, simply watch my tutorial video, which is already in the card above or in the comment section down below. You guys, that's how you support this channel. Go back and watch that video. I covered everything and I answered all the questions that you are having in your thoughts right now. Let me just play one last game before I go to bed, because that's what I do when I am tired. Great. Right, now I'm playing against a 2085 rated And there we see pawn to g6, the modern defense. This is why I feel lazy making these live streams, you guys. I wanted to see the Scandinavian, but my opponent played something else that I didn't want to include in my stream. Okay, so let me play the Bjorn variation. Knight c3, d6. Let me play bishop g5, hoping to see knight f6. There we see another thing that I didn't expect. I was expecting black was going to play knight f6, and then I was going to push my e-pawn to e5. So a4 looks great here, just preventing pawn to b5, because I want to play bishop c4 and then pawn to e5 later on. Or let me start with bishop c4 first. If b5, I have bishop b3. Yep, so b5, bishop b3, because what else can I do? What else do I know? Anyway, pawn to h6, and my opponent is playing fast. Maybe he knows one or two things, but this is very bad according to my knowledge. You don't need to be pushing your pawns in the opening stage. You need to be developing your pieces, not your pawns. So I have 3 minor pieces already out, and black has none. There we see bishop b7. None of black's pieces is wisely developed. You know what I mean? You need to develop your pieces towards the center of the board. Anyway, one might argue to say black is controlling the center with his bishops, his 2 flankeroed bishops, but that's not suffice, though. You need to understand the principles. Knights should go first before bishops, according to Kasparov. Anyway, let me play knight f3 or queen g4 first. The problem with queen g4 is that it lacks continuity. So let me play knight f3 or probably pawn to f4. Yeah, pawn to f4 first. Yeah, stopping pawn to g5 by black. And look at how I'm controlling the center with all of my pawns. There we see b4, but I have knight d5 counterattacking the b4 pawn. And the worst that black can do here is to take my knight. I'm just gonna take that b4 pawn, by the way. Maybe a5 will do, but I have pawn to a3. There we see pawn to c6 by black. Yeah, now I can just take the pawn on b4. I think, is there any trap here? No, I don't see anything. So knight takes b4. Ah, okay, queen a5. But I have pawn to c3. Yeah, unpinning my knight, and look at how strong my center is. Pawn to c5. I have knight d5. Yeah, let me just play knight d5. What else can I do here? What's my opponent's rating? But oh, 2085. Why is he playing so fast and he's making bad moves? Okay, pawn to e6, attacking my knight, but first of all, I can give a check, right? Like bishop a4 check. Is it? Yeah, bishop a4. Yeah, bishop a4 check, and then pawn to b5. Sorry, pawn to b4 next. So bishop a4 check, and then pawn to b4 next. Am I going to trap my opponent's queen? Okay, knight c6. The knight is pinned. Pawn to b4. How is my opponent going to save his queen? Wait a second, you guys. What is happening here? It's like black's queen is trapped. This guy is a 2085 rated opponent. First of all, he was playing very fast, and secondly, he was making 0 moves in the opening stage. Look at all these highlighted squares. Black can't do anything, you guys. He can't even take my bishop because I have queen takes a4. What is happening? Could this be one of the consequences of not following the opening principles? Oh, what are we witnessing here? Yeah, like my opponent was just messing around in the opening stage, not following any opening principle, and then he is now paying. So c takes b4, I can just take back. You see that black can't take my pawn because the knight is pinned, and my opponent just resigned. He goes by the name Black Master. For what? Why? Why would a full-grown bearded man lose a game in this manner? Why? I have nothing left to say. Now, time for you to go and check out my new E5 defense course, which I have also linked in the comment section down below. And I'm glad to say, so far it has received a lot of attention and people are getting it like crazy. So it's an opening response that you try against White's E4 opening. You're going to learn how to play against the Scotch, the Royal Pace, the Bishop's opening, 3 Knights opening, the 4 Knights game, the Vienna game, even the Italian game. So it's the complete E5 defense course that I just launched with my team. You better go and check it out. Thank you so much for watching this video. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Bye bye.